Hi everyone, it's Kirsten Plus YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today, I'm going to be going through my mid-season reviews of the team, but predictions on where I had them at the start of the year. Now, if you're new to the channel and you're watching this for the first time, welcome. If you to your first video, if you are new, but if you're returning magpies, look, welcome back. Now, I'll go through the teams I've had to buy. So, teams like Melbourne, they've got the buy. Teams like Collingwood have got the buy. So, there's 8 teams, realistically, that have the buy. Now, I'll start off with Adelaide. Their best wins, I would say, against Melbourne and St Kilda, after good fight back, but their losses have had so many. But I honestly did have Adelaide 18. All of a sudden, they are 12th on the ladder. It's remarkable. North Melbourne are 18th, and I get that. That's all good and well, but to have Adelaide there, will not. It surprised me a little bit on the way they've gone about it this year. West Coast, I had them second on the ladder. And then they're 7th. Now, my honest opinion on West Coast, and true 40 if you're watching this, mate, I think you guys are top 14 at the start of the year. And I'll say why. 2020 was difficult, but reality is that you guys are a better team. Like, you guys are so dominant at home, and you make that ground like your fortress. And I respect that, because you gotta want to win. Now, the best wins of the season against Richmond, because of the fight back. The worst loss of the year, I say Geelong, a massive loss. St Kilda, which is a game that you probably should win, and Essendon. People would have picked West Coast against Essendon. But another best one was against Collingwood and Carlton. And I say Carlton because you guys had a lot of injuries. To beat a team when you had a lot of injuries out, that is a lot of respect. That is one of the best wins of the season for a club like West Coast. And I put St Kilda as a disappointing loss, because you guys are realistically 28 points up and you lose. It's not the best feeling in the world. As much as possible. So Adelaide, West Coast, Richmond. They're 8th at the moment, but I had them top 4, top of the ladder. If I were to say about Richmond, their best win of the season, I would say, it's a bit difficult because they've had some really good wins. Essendon was one where they were up, Essendon fought back, got in front, and Richmond pulled on the goals as well. St Kilda, as much as anything. Adelaide, again, like another good win. But a couple of the losses they've had, getting thumped by Geelong, I don't think you can take that lightly. Geelong just took it up to them. Melbourne took it up to them. And you would have factor in that Richmond tends to beat Melbourne. for much of anything. And I think Richmond this year, when I had him top of the ladder, I am prospecting, mate. If you're watching this, know you're a mad Richmond fan. But I don't know. I think the wheels have fallen off a little bit. Richmond's got the injuries, and probably the chances now of making a win the premiership outside top four will be tough. And you'd rather have that week off. But, and having said that, should be top four, so should West Coast in that manner. It doesn't look easy. As much as possible, and I just feel now it's what you got to do, realistically, as much as possible. So when you have like teams like Adelaide surprising everybody at this stage, and we'll say that you're not expecting that to happen, but you do feel like you should be beating teams, and whether or not they're to beat Carlton and like one of the good wins, because Carlton always build themselves up like they're a top 8 team, and you can sort of tell that Richmond have got gears, but the man on the marker has fucked Richmond up, and the reason why I do say that is because you can't move. Richmond like to make sure that they get that, close that space, force the opposition to kick long down the line or backwards or panic under pressure, and you haven't quite seen that from Richmond this year. So I think that could be the ones that you look at and you go, is it their year? 2020, they won the difficult premiership under a lot of circumstances. And honestly, I had Richmond in the grand final as much as anything. And I just feel now that when you're going to play AFL football, team's going to work you out. Another probably good win was against the Giants, being 28 points down as well. But you want to obviously start winning a few games. It's tough run home. I know Richmond's got Collingwood, and that's not an easy beat as well. So that's going to be a cracking game if we can go, depending on what day it is. Who knows when it comes to that. But having said that, you just don't know at this point if it's going to be at the G or it's going to be moved somewhere else, because that does come as a factor as well. But or when you can find out as much as possible. St Kilda, very disappointing start to the season. I had St Kilda 9th by the looks of it. Based on my reasons were I wasn't too sure, and they're 13th on the ladder now. So St Kilda for me, their best wins that you could realistically say. I wasn't too sure with St Kilda at this year whether or not they could make finals or not, whether this was one off. But the wins that they had, they beat North Melbourne. They certainly, as much as I like to say that they beaten teams that potentially, like beating the Giants, like that was a really good win. And look at Giants now compared to having a bye a couple of weeks ago, is that you feel that they should be winning, like they should be beating Essendon, and there's not really too many lights that you see that you feel the best win was against West Coast, obviously, because that's, a comeback waiting to happen. North Melbourne was one as well, because considering that at the time of the games you think, oh, is it a good win or is it not? You're just not 100% sure. So I think with St Kilda, people had them top 8. I certainly didn't think so. I know 2019 I had Collingwood top 4 based on, how good was this. I think, we're able to keep momentum because of it. But I just feel now, St Kilda, is it a once-off? I know Carmen 22 is a mad St Kilda supporter. Pretty much the way that you want to play. The inconsistency and the worst losses, again, Essendon. How crucial can you get, realistically? Losing to a team. Adelaide, that's another worst loss. Being 6 goals in front. And really you have to say that they keep a team goalless until 15-minute mark in the second quarter. That's when they realistically scored. And you think, how is that possible? How is it possible that you keep a team goalless in the first quarter, they score, and yet you be, 36 points off and you still lose? For me, that feels like a danger. It feels like that's the warning signs. The danger signs of not quite being up there. Best win against West Coast, I feel, because that's the way you want to play. Worst loss, Western Bulldogs. They're normally competitive. They beat Bulldogs last year. Richmond by 86 points. Port Adelaide, another worst loss on top of that. So there are a lot of concerns for me. Like, West Coast I'm not worrying about too much because I know they're a good team. They've had good wins. They've lost to the Doggies as well, but at least they made it like a contest. So they're sort of like in the game for like most parts of it. So it's like, it's not as bad. Even Richmond, it's not as bad. You know that teams like Richmond, they'll start coming together and getting some results. But I don't know, I just feel like it's not quite happening yet as much as possible. So that's 5 teams down. So we got Adelaide, West Coast, Richmond, St Kilda, Melbourne. Did I do Melbourne? So Melbourne, no, I didn't. So I did West. So I did St Kilda, West Coast, Richmond, St Kilda, West Coast, Richmond, Adelaide. Now St Kilda. Alright, so I got 5 in all. There's 3 more to do. So I got to do Collingwood, Melbourne, and there's one other team that's got the bye in this round. I'll do Melbourne. I'll leave Collingwood last because it's interesting. Okay, Melbourne on top of the ladder. I had Melbourne 10th on that. about 9th or 10th on that, as much as possible. So the best wins that they've had: Western Bulldogs, a tick. Pull off the remarkable game. Brisbane Lions, tick. Richmond, a tick. Unbeatable. Certainly, it did look like that way. Positives were that they did play against lower teams and had to beat them. Beat Carlton, which is... You have to say that was a tick, as much as anything. And you feel like they're the sort of teams that Melbourne has to beat. Geelong was another tick on top of that, and you feel like, okay, they're coming something. So realistically, that's the way to go about it. For much as anything. So, and the worst loss, I say Adelaide and Collingwood. Collingwood, because we had a win against Adelaide, and realistically we weren't doing that great. So to lose against us was disappointing, but other than that, it was no big deal whatsoever. But other than that, I think they'll be a really good team. They're going to lose a couple more games, but they're going to win more than anything as well. On top of that, Fremantle got the bye. Now they are realistically 10th on the ladder. And I had them 10th. So, probably one of the good... They've had some good wins this year. Certainly, I feel that they have. But then other than that, I think they've performed reasonably well. And I think with that, you want to see that improvement as much as anything. So, to see that performance, you think, yep. Negatives were they lost to Carlton in a big margin. They lost to Port, but they beat Gold Coast Suns. So positive was they are beating some of the teams that they should be beating. I still think they'll be around the mark. Wouldn't surprise me if they make the A. I know Druzy will be pretty happy if they do. And then the way they're going as well, pretty good sign. Collingwood. Now, what I'm going to say about Collingwood. Had 15th on the ladder. Luckily, had us 3rd. So, I had St Kilda 9th. Fremantle 10th. Now, best wins, I say, against Carlton because they're arch rivals. Melbourne and certainly Adelaide because under a lot of pressure. The worst performance, I say, against Sydney and Giants, but we've been in the games with them. So with their next runs, I think it's very important. I think we'll win and win comfortably, but other than that, I still think that we're going to be a better team than anything else. We're one of the best teams outside the 8 at the moment. We just left our run a bit too late, and like Mick might have said. I still think there's a lot of light in the tunnel for us, definitely, and I think there'll be plenty of improvement for sure on top of that. So if we can just keep up the performances, I can't see why not, realistically, that we can't do that anymore. So we'll know for sure what's going to happen with that. I reckon we'll win about 6 games, but that will not surprise me as much as anything. So who knows for that performance? Should be able to stick at it and hopefully get some wins eventually. So I'm going off to the gym. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think comments were. Till then, got a mighty pies.